do you do for your staff to motivate them?
Loads, just come in every day. No, oh Christ, cut that out. We're a drinks brand based in London, East London, Bethnal Green. We make functional juices and shots. We were living quite sort of typical city-based lives. I say city-based actually. We're all stuck in this modern lifestyle thing. So all of us don't get enough sleep for varying reasons. All of us work long hours. We have lots of responsibilities, particularly as you get a bit older, get a lot more responsible for stuff. Still trying to fight against that, but so what that results in is you essentially are going from day to day, either not eating as well as you can do, either drinking too much, and your lifestyle sort of suffers for it. So in the corporate environment in London, we were making juices at home ourselves, and then we were taking them into work. These allowed us to essentially really turbocharge our day in terms of veg and fruit and varying other sort of functional ingredients like turmeric and ginger, which at the time was, you know, we used to walk into work with a beetroot juice and people were like, what are you doing? This is completely mad. But it really started as a passion project, and we found a genuine love for the product and for what it could do for us. And really what it could do for us was allow us to sort of continue living as we were, just with that little assistance and support from the product. And that then led really to a, I guess the light bulb moment really was, well, this is the thing. Charlie and I had always talked about doing something together. We were like, this is the thing. But how do we commercialise it? And that's a whole different ball game. How you go from a passion project, which keeps you in your, up overnight in your kitchen developing recipes and playing around with varying different veg and fruit and spices and herbs and things like that, to actually creating a business from it is a whole different ball game. Particularly when you come from completely out of industry. We didn't have a clue about food and beverage. There's a lot of people still falling way short of their 5 a day, which is it is a pretty astounding thing given how much money has gone into the 5 a day campaign, and people are still putting it on packaging and things like that, yet it's still not really resonated with the UK consumer, or at least it doesn't feel like it's had much of an effect. So we were thinking about the delivery system. How do you get this into people quicker, in a tastier way, in a more authentic, how do you represent what veg and fruit is, but in a bottle, on the shelf? Now you can do that if you cold press, because it extracts a lot out of the ingredients. It's not as good as whole veg and fruit. Whole veg and fruit has fibre, etc., but a cold press juice in its best form has all of the different varying micronutrients and things like that. So it's a super good, it's an amazing product. But the problem then became is how do you get that onto a shelf? And that requires technology, which is high pressure processing. And that allows you to get enough of a commercially viable shelf life, but also retain the integrity of the product. Does that make sense? So for us, it was really about stages. First, we had to nail down flavours, recipes and things like that, and ones that worked on a UK or a consumer's palate. So it's no good doing all of this hard work to extract this juice from the ingredients, which is quite a laborious process, and just making it all fruit based, because then it's very heavily sugar laden. So it's then about crafting different recipes which work with lots of veg in, or with spices in and things like that. So that was the first step, and that was in Charlie's mum's kitchen, just vibing out on recipes and like trying to figure it out. And then that progressed to Charlie's mum's book club in Surrey, genuinely a tasting panel of 10 local ladies who we would make them in the morning. They would go down, the juices would be taken down, they would feedback, give us all their feedback on a questionnaire form, we'd then tweak them. So it was being tested on real people, but at very low cost, obviously. And that got us the recipes, and then there was farmers markets. So all of this, I guess, you would put in the proof of concept bracket, is figuring out what worked, what didn't work, what people really resonated with people. And at this point, cold pressed juice was still a complete, it was so niche at this time. Although in the US it was really, really pushing on, and but we were always of the mind that it wasn't so much about cold pressed juice. It was more about that delivery system. How do you get veg and fruit, which is should be an absolute staple of people's day, in a much more convenient way. We were selling not many, but because we were constrained by production time, we were doing it at the weekends. I was still working. Charlie was then, I was still working full time at this point. So we were juicing at the weekends, and then Charlie was driving the juices up to get processed in the HPP plant in Milton Keynes, and then trying to do everything else that went with it. And at this point as well, we were also looking at, so this again was all proof of concept stage. So it really wasn't about volume in terms of sales. It was demonstrating for us at that time that it's the famed product market fit, which is something that's all dominating in how I think nowadays. And it's, at the time, it was understanding, is there genuine need for this product? And recipe development and things like that, and tweaking. We were able to do that at a small scale, but we always knew that we had to step it up quite quickly, particularly taking on investment early days. Seed investment requires an understand, or at least you to be able to demonstrate product market fit, really. It's very difficult to raise money, and I'd say as a first-time entrepreneur in an industry that you're not close to, or you're not an industry person, to then go and raise money, you need to show that you've done the hard yards and you've kind of shown that there's need for this product. It's very different for someone who's already done something in an industry and then goes and starts a new company and can demonstrate they've done it before. They don't need a product on the shelves, essentially. Big believer in in cloud-based software. So things like Xero from an accounting package. The beauty of SaaS-based or cloud-based software is that they're iterating so quickly. So things like Xero, whilst in the early days it was probably super clunky and not that good, today it's the accounting system for bigger and bigger companies, and that's because they can iterate and learn and develop and things like that. So definitely Xero on the accounting side. Disruption. The support network for startups, food and beverage startups in the UK. I believe we've got pound for pound one of the best, some of the best brands in the world globally, but the ecosystem to support that isn't in a state that I think it could be, and more support needs to come from both national government and local government. There's been a lot of really exciting moments, like what you class as a win, but being very ambitious people, we're always looking further down the track. So we try and we do celebrate everything that we can, but we're always looking on for the next. I would say our initial packaging, full stop, really. I mean, we still have it, we have it just there to remind us where we've come from. And it was not our finest. I don't think it was our finest moment, but you learn, and I think we're doing okay now. We used to do something called Hug for a Juice. So we always had the mantra that we were never gonna just hand out product for free, because we think it's actually there's such a bad look for me when you see the big multinationals just handing out product for free. I think it falls on consumers just to cheers, and then they just get on with their day. So we always ask for something in return, and in the case of a juice, it was a hug, so you had to give us a hug. And this was 8 AM on a Tuesday morning outside Shoreditch High Street. So that was the experiential, really interacting with the consumers. Some people found it awkward, but we just cracked on nonetheless. Budgeons, Islington. 20 quid. You'll get people ask a lot about USP, and particularly there's a certain type of person which will expect you to give them one defining unique selling point, which I believe doesn't exist. I think it's an amalgamation of a number of things which the compounding effect leads to a great brand. And that is the same, I believe, for brand awareness. So it's a number of things. It's distribution, the ability to buy you on shelf. Your packaging is your biggest asset. So it is your billboard in store. We're not exactly privileged because we have a tiny little billboard, but the bottle shape itself lends itself to being standout on shelf, believe it or not, being small. But it's those number of effects, so merchandise for sure, like hoodies, etc., etc. Very contemporary way of getting your brand out there, and not just in terms of product. Sampling, as you say, hug for a juice, office samplings. Just be very mindful of people who are charging you lots of money to take advert space, or where ultimately, as with everything, just hard work yields results. So if you get out, sample, feet on the street, interact with your customers, consumers, understand what it is they want from a product, that's the best thing you can be doing to raise brand awareness. Attention to detail. And wanting to get to the absolute nub of the issue every time, or not the nub of the issue, I suppose is the wrong expression, but really understand something to the nth degree can often slow progress in some ways. So that's probably my biggest weakness. But then it's also, I believe, a great strength, because everything that we do is about detail and quality. The one defining thing is spend your time and particularly if you're starting something, spend your time and your money on really determining that core insight and key insight into a market. Understand if there is true need for that product, and try not to get caught up in the emotion of, I love this product and it's going to be a massive success. Try and be a bit more analytical about the core insight before you start anything, and that's where your money should go. As it is, or the brand as it is, we believe should have all of the ingredients to motivate people day to day. We supplement that with things that we feel just make their lives more enjoyable and easier as well. So we provide brekkie every morning, lunch 3 times a week. There's a massage. We have shout out to Scarlett at Massage. She takes care of us, and a member of the team gets a massage each week, just locally down the road. Big believers in, I guess, looking at everyone's and trying to help people both in a personal capacity and work capacity as well. Our legacy we want to leave is just to try and make a small impact in the world where people change their perception around what they're consuming and their consumption, and looking after themselves a little bit better. So that's the legacy we would like to leave, but in a really decent way. So the brand will always be viewed as they did that with absolute integrity. We are a 1% for the Planet member. That's about us trying to help people reconnect with nature and the planet through environmental impact causes like Trees for Cities, which is our charity partner, so introducing more green space into city environments. So yeah, it's doing everything with integrity, and as I say, just as well being thought of absolute innovators in delivering these powerful plant ingredients to people in the freshest form possible.